Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. I know. Wow, it was so much rain. I was kind of surprised by how much rain there was.
Mm-hmm. Well, Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
I am very excited to be here again with you all to celebrate Shabbat for another week. I promise that next week we will go back to our regularly scheduled rabbi. But we will get started tonight on page 120 with the candle blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kinishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. We'll continue on page 128 with Yedid Nefesh in the middle of the page.
Yedid Nefesh Habarachman, Yedid Nefesh Habarachman, Neshach Avdecha, Eretz Zonecha.
Page 130, Lechu Neranana.
Lechu Neranana L'Adonai Nariya L'Tzorishenu Nekan mafanav letodah pizmirot nariya lo anay
Continue with Or Zarua on Shiru Ladonai on page 131.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלטיו, כי גדול אדוני ומעולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. כי כל אלוהי העמים אלילים, אדוני שמיים עשה, עד ועדי לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו, ינאי 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 ינאי
We will now continue with Or Zarua on page 132. Bottom of the page. Page 134, Zamru Ladonai. Continue on the bottom of page 135 with Romemu.
King Adonai.
page 138. We will continue with Lecha Dodi. We will be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. On the 9th verse, we will rise and face the entrance and welcome in the Sabbath bride. So again, 138.
Shalom, ater ba'ala, gam besimcha uvetzola, toch emunei am segula, bo ichala, lecha dodi likrat kala.
You may be seated if you are still standing. We now turn to page 140 for Mizmor Shir.
Mizmor Shir leYom HaShabbat, Tov lehodol Adonai, ulezamer leShimcha Elyon, ulezamer leShimcha Elyon. Mizmor Shir leYom HaShabbat, Tov lehodol Adonai, ulezamer צדיק חלומו יפרח, כרז בלבנון ישגה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובו משיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולתמו.
We will continue on page 144 with the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
ילמד יברח ירוצה וימליך מלכותה.
בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב.
מאמרו
אמן.
יהי
שמי רבה מבורך, לעלמה מעמיה יתברך.
יתברך וישבח, ויתפאר בגרמה וינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה,
תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן ועלמה,
ויאמרו אמן.
On page 146, please rise if you are willing and able for the Baruch Hu. You may be seated. On page 148, we will read together the English on the bottom of the page. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המריב הרבים.
We'll continue with Ahavat Olam on page 150.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Continue on page 154 with Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vechayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom alevavecha veshinantam levanecha vedibarta bam Beshivtecha beveitecha uleftecha vaderech ukshokpecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vihitem kedoshim laloechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher chotzeiti etchem meretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelochim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. Continue on page 157 in the English at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Michamocha on page 158.
Torah
page 160, Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'amidenu shomereinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'amidenu shomereinu.
On page 162, Vishamru. We have now come to the point of our tefillah where we have reached the Amidah. We will start together with Lauren singing Adonai Tzifatai for us, Cantor Lauren, and we will continue silently until page 180 where we will come back together. Please rise if you are willing and able.
Adonai Tzifatai Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you, oh my rock and my redeemer.
We'll now turn to page 371 as we offer our Misha Berach this evening. We will begin with those in our community and connected to our community who are in need of healing. Glenn, Tinny, Tzipora, Ahava, Gidel, Bat Shmuel, Aviva, Oren Nachum, Bruce Steger, Hanarut Bat Sarah, Jeff Baker, David Tosher, Jim Cohn, Monique Renee Banks Rathbun, Lindsay Epstein, Dolores Mincha, Sylvia Orn, Rachmiel Ben Hinda, Paloma Chauhan, Samuel Moskovitz, Chaim Leib, Joyce Weinberg, Rick Gold, Stu Pollock, Jane London, Catherine Garino, Emuna Chava, Judy Stern, Miriam Cornfield, Roz Brody, Hanarut Batsara, Fagel Tzipora Bat Elisheva Batsara, Richard Gambino, Michelle Sawicki, Idol Basha Bat Yitzchak, Tzvi Menachem Ben Chaim, Rivka Bat Devora, Amy and Gavin Tucker, Janice Kurz, David Dowling, Ron Weller, Ben Sion Ben Moshe, Lorraine Danis, Buddy Kossoff, Shelley Newmark, David Kyle Klopman, Rivka Bat Rachel, Sissy Gadinsky, Sarah Bat Chana, Moshe Eliezer Ben Sivia, Peretz Ben Yehuda, Leah Bat Naomi, Gedalia Ben Leah, Justin Banner, Tzipora Ahava Bat Yehudit Rachel, Jane Bede Cass, Amy Cass, Steve Levine, Ira Madris, Ephraim Raphael Ben Esther, and Myra Maislin. And I welcome those of you who are watching at home to add the names of those who you were thinking of as well. For those of us that are in person tonight, if you have names to share, just raise your hand to make sure that we acknowledge it. We'll join together on page 371 in the middle of the page.
To make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yisheberach imotzeinu tekor habracha lavoteinu. The souls in need of healing, with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Cantor Lauren, you can take a well-deserved break. If you eat your vegetables, then you can eat dessert. If you finish your homework, you can watch TV. If you stay quiet in the car, then we can stop for ice cream. These are all examples of if-thens that parents tell their kids as they are growing up. They continue as you grow older. If you work really hard, you will make the sports team or get a part in the high school play. If you get good grades in high school, then you will get into a great college. If you do well in college, you will get a great internship. If you do well in your internship and get good grades in college, then you will get a high-paying job. If you get a high-paying job, you can buy a nice house, and so on and so forth. This is the American dream that we have been telling for generations upon generations. However, what happens when these thens don't come to fruition after the ifs are accomplished? We see an example of this playing out in this week's Parsha, Vayetze. Jacob has fled his brother's wrath and set out for Haran. He has his dream where he sees the ladder that goes up to heaven with angels of God going up and down. He continues on his journey and comes to a well where he meets his cousin Rachel. Jacob fell in love with Rachel, and Laban, his uncle, asked what Jacob's wages would be to work for him. Jacob answered, Vayomer ehevdecha shev'a shanim berachel hakatana. I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel. Jacob served Laban for 7 years, and when it came time to marry Rachel, Laban threw a feast. Instead of bringing Rachel to Jacob, he brought his older daughter Leah and tricked Jacob into marrying her. Jacob was understandably upset as he worked hard for 7 years to not receive the reward that he was promised. This is a feeling all too familiar for millennials in the United States today. Since we were very young, we were told that if we worked hard and went to college, that we would get a good job and be able to afford a lifestyle that we desired. Millennials fulfilled this if. It is the most educated generation in American history. However, for many, the then never came. According to the most recent Pew study, 52% of young adults are living with one or both of their parents. According to an Experian consumer study, the average millennial has $87,448 in debt, with $38,877 of that coming from student loans. There are many who say that millennials are privileged and that there are plenty of jobs right now. There is a worker crisis with many jobs available for them to take. There is some truth to this. A person who is out working on the farm doing manual labor is probably not one of those people making complaints about their circumstances. However, for most living in metropolitan areas of the United States, a factory or service job is not enough to be sustainable. The average house price has gone up over 900% since 1967. There is a cumulative price increase on the dollar of 728.11%. The adjusted starting salary for a college graduate in 1967 was $57,107, and in 2015, it was $50,219. Salaries have stayed the same while the cost of living has exploded. This also does not account for the fact that the cost of an undergraduate degree has more than doubled in that time. The standards have also changed for finding a good starting job. Many jobs now require a graduate degree as opposed to just a bachelor's degree. The situation changed, and millennials had to change with it. It is a deflating and frustrating experience for this generation in the world today. Jacob experienced similar frustration in his situation with Lavan. He expressed to Lavan, "Ma zot asita li, halo v'Rachel avadati imach, ve'lama riminitani." What is it you have done to me? I was in your service for Rachel. Why did you deceive me? Lavan responds to him by saying, "Lo ya'aseh chen bimkomenu latet hatzeira lifnei habechira." It is not the practice in our place to marry off the younger before the older. Ma'ale shavua zot ve'nitna lacha gam et zot be'avoda asher ta'avod imadi od sheva shanim acherot. Wait until the bridal week of this one is over, and we will give you that one too, provided you serve me another 7 years. Jacob starts his family with both Rachel and Leah, all while working for Lavan. Lavan kept changing the wages that he received, and Jacob eventually left Lavan with his family and the livestock that he had rightfully earned after a total of 20 years. Lavan pursued them, but God intervenes and tells Lavan to do no harm to Jacob, and eventually they will make a pact and go their separate ways. There is much that millennials can learn, and the generations that follow can learn from Jacob in this story. Jacob is intelligent and has great work ethic. He works for 7 years to achieve his goals. Even though the circumstances were changed and he did not receive that which he was told he would, he continued working. Eventually, after years of hard work, he was able to achieve his goals and amass a great wealth and success. In this whole process, he begins a process of change from the trickster that left his family to the man that he will become. But more on that next week. There is also much to think about in the story for the generations that preceded millennials. Are these the circumstances that we want for our kids, nieces, nephews, grandchildren? Do we want to keep telling them what might be false narratives? Is the solution to stop giving hope for success? Or are there steps that we can take to ensure that future generations will succeed in ever-changing circumstances? What worked for Jacob would not have worked for you. What worked for you is not working for these generations. No matter what generation you belong to, we are all Jacob. We are all dreaming, we are all hoping for the future, and we are all working hard to achieve our goals. We may have had different paths and worked a different number of years for our Lavan. That is just reality. What we must do now is recognize and respect these different paths and work together so that there is a better path for the generation of Jacobs to come. Shabbat Shalom. We will continue on page 586 with Aleinu. Please rise if you are willing and able. On the bottom of page 586, sorry.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gdula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'vei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
I now invite those who are in mourning and those who are observing yard site to remain standing. Everyone else may be seated. We first think of those in our community who have passed in recent months. Sylvia Alderman, Morris Dickstein, Fred Eber, Sandra Furman, Evelyn Gelb, Arthur Grossman, Elaine Grossman, Gerald Hirsch, Deidre Klein, Jeanette Kopp, William Lipman, Audrey Lubo, Morty Lynn, Gary Monroe, Harry Olstein, Geraldine Rosen, Harriet Roth, Jeanne Rubin, Howard Schreer, Dorothy Shupnick, Paul Silver, Marlise Silverberg, Blanche Sklar, Rita Sandra Snyder, Joan Strong-Tanzilius, Virginia Tizer. We also mark the yard sites of those that have occurred during the last week. Harold Adler, Robert Auerbach, Sadie Bennett, Marion Bloom, Marshall Butler, Betty Cutler, Erwin Daniels, Deborah de Rothschild, Hannah Elias, Florence Feinstein, Mildred Garner, Tilly Gastworth, Carol Goldblatt, Gladys Goodstone, Esther Greenberg, Milton Gross, Fanny Halpern, Phyllis Katz, Morris Kelman, Leo Klopman, Dora Kloffer, Evelyn Lauder, Rose Lefkowitz, Sylvia Lieberman, Mary Neff, Louis Rossick, Katie Rugendorf, Edith Schussman, Victor Siegel, Bernard Silberg, Bertha Zuckerman, Yehuda Muti Waldman, Irvin Weller, and Claire York. If there is anyone who is saying Kaddish for someone that I didn't mention, I invite you to share their name now. We will join together with the mourners on page 598 as I invite those who are willing and able to rise in body or spirit. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divra chirotei ve'amlich malchutei. V'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye de kol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei de kudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Zichronam livarcha, may their memories be for a blessing.
Amen.
Now for some announcements. Shabbat morning service will be live streamed tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Join us on our website, YouTube channel, or Facebook page. Archived versions will be available for viewing shortly after each service ends. Then join us for Torah study with third-year rabbinical student Aaron Blasban. Oh, that's me. This Sunday at 1 p.m. is the virtual museum tour. Discover the Maj at the Jewish Museum of Art and History in Paris. Another tour from the same museum on November 21st is all about the Jewish Marais, the Jewish heart of Paris. Contact Toby Spitz for details. Also this Sunday at 2 p.m., the Women's Rosh Chodesh group will meet on Zoom. On Monday, Nida Mitzvah meets at 11:30 a.m., Hebrew School is at 3:30 p.m., and the Social Justice Committee meets at 5 p.m. On Tuesday at 7 p.m., the Anti-Semitism Committee will meet. please contact shellylickstein@gmail.com for the Zoom link. Rabbi Dan's class on Abraham, Joshua, Heschel, and the prophets is on Wednesday at 12 p.m., and the Hebrew school meets that day at 3:30 p.m. Rabbi Dan's class on A Journey to the Heart of Siddur is on Friday at 9:15 a.m. and at 4 p.m. There's our weekly Shabbat fun for kids under age 5 at Old Whalers. The first night of Hanukkah is Sunday, November 28th. We hope you will join us and Rabbi Dan at 6 p.m. for our Hanukkah lighting on the Long Wharf in Sag Harbor, with hot chocolate and jelly donuts, of course. For the next 7 nights of Hanukkah, Rabbi Dan will be on Zoom each evening at 6 p.m. to virtually light the candles with some of our members. Also, the Social Justice Committee will be providing 8 nights of action ideas for you to contribute to the upcoming season of giving. Look for details on these and all our programs and events in our weekly e-blasts and on our website calendar. If you're not getting our emails, please let the temple office know. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
I believe we have a closing song.
We do have a closing song, so I can't believe Hanukkah is so soon. So I thought we would kick off the festivities with one of my favorite Hanukkah songs. It's Peter Yarrow's Light One Candle. So if you know it, please sing along.
Light one candle for the Maccabee children. Give thanks that they're lighted in time. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for your terrible sacrifice, justice and freedom demand. Light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength we needed to never become our own foe. Light one candle for those who are suffering the pain we learned so long ago. Light one candle for all who believe in, let anger not tear us apart. Light one candle to bind us together with peace and the song in our heart. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. What is a memory that builds us so highly that we keep alive in that flame? What's a commitment with those who have died when we cry out they've not died in vain? We have come this far, always believing that justice will somehow prevail. This is a burden and this is a promise, and this is why we will not fail. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, don't let the light go out, don't let the light go out, don't let the light go out.
We'll finish today's services, or this evening's services, with the Shabbat Kiddush, which I promise I have the right page this time. It's 123. Please join with me on page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava v'ratzon hikilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinachaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim. Shabbat shalom, everyone.